Okay, let's talk Scream 7 because there's so many different things people are saying. Obviously, like after the success of Scream 5 and Scream 6, they're going to be making Scream 7 because it's the final thing we're here. Well, actually, we don't know if it's final, but it's the third movie. That's usually when they come to a close. Of course, they're going to finish it off with Scream 7. You've got to have the closing chapter. They left it on kind of... I feel like it was kind of left on a cliffhanger just because so many people lived, and I feel like their stories weren't completely come to a... what's the word? A satisfying conclusion for each character. So I think it's only necessary that another movie comes out with Scream 7. There's been a lot of news, so I'm just going to be talking about that news today, kind of what I'm hoping for in this movie and whether or not it's going to be a good idea to switch up the director or go in a new direction or whatever they're trying to do. So let's read about it. Strikes continue in Hollywood. Okay, so the big Scream 7 news as of right now of me filming this is the fact that they are going to be getting a new director for the film. It's his name is Christopher Landon, not Radio Silence, they did Screams 5 and 6, but they also made Ready or Not, which was a really popular one back in the day of 2019. But I think it was 2019 that came out. Let me check. Yeah, 2019. Huh. Cool. I knew that off the top of my head. Okay. They are not going to be directing this new one when they've directed the past two. It's going to be a director named Christopher Landon who made the Happy Death Day movies. He directed those, which I actually was a pretty big fan of the first one. The second one was kind of a joke, but the first one I thought was really good. It's definitely a different feel than Scream. I feel like Happy Death Day is a little bit more not taking itself seriously. The main character is kind of like not likable at all, and none of the characters were really likable at all. And going into a Scream movie when it's driven by people loving the characters is a little bit concerning. But I do think the story of Happy Death Day was decent. From what I've seen, a lot of people are saying that they like the idea of a new director because it'll put a new spin on a movie and it makes it kind of more of like a mystery of what's going to happen because it's someone unknown for the franchise. Some other people are saying that they don't know if they like it because it won't be consistent. I think as long as the director is only in charge of like the creative vision of the project, I think it'll be fine to switch that out and come up with something new. People are how they are, and they'll make something and they'll run out of creative juices and then it goes dry. And it's like, I mean, Wes Craven never did, but why is the phone ringing? Oh my gosh, that's horrifying. Oh my gosh, who is calling on my landline? Who uses a landline anymore? Hold on 1 second. That is truly frightening. No one ever calls our landline. Anyway, I forgot where I was. That really freaked me out. Going with a new director and a new take and a new vat of ideas is a good decision, especially since Radio Silence, who's been leading these last two movies, will still be working on the project. They can help with making sure that it stays consistent to the characters, because it is hard to walk into something not knowing the characters at all. And if the core four were to go into this next movie and completely be different people and not even be the people that we've gotten to know over the franchise, that would be really disappointing. It says that Radio Silence will not be directing the new movie because they're too busy with other films that they're working on. What? The writers for Scream 7 have not been confirmed yet, and they don't know who's going to be doing it. But I have to say, with the writing of Scream 5 and Scream 6, which Scream 5 is actually my favorite one. I was also too young for the other ones, so I didn't get to see them when they came out. I had to watch them when I was way older and they had already been out for like 10 years. So Scream 5 was the first one I got to see in the theater and got to actually like understand the references in it, because I'm too young to understand all the references in the older ones. When it comes to the writing of Scream 5 and 6, there's something missing for me that the old ones had. And it's like, you've got the ghost faces, you've got the main characters, those are fine. The problem is not even like the reveals, or not even the kills or whatever, what you think of when you think of a Scream movie. For the fans who like to theorize and think about how the killers are doing their plans, why the killers are doing their plans, it doesn't add up in either movie. Like, they make decisions that just don't make sense at all. Like in Scream 5, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but you've got Richie and Amber, who didn't like the last Stab movie. This isn't a very strong motive either, but they didn't like the last Stab movie, and so they're trying to make a real-life Stab movie so that they will make it in Hollywood and make a good Stab movie based on true events. And it's like, they come up with this plan to do it together. I mean, like, they go and find Samantha Carpenter. He pretends to date her for months. Amber is best friends with Tara. I don't know how long she's been best friends with Tara, but she's clearly gotten really close to her. They get all the stuff together. They get ready to attack Tara, and after they attack Tara, their plan, like, they don't have a plan. It feels like everything they're doing is just, like, in the spur of the moment, and it's not, like, well planned out. With Billy and Stu, when they had their plan, they killed the mom a year before. They attacked Casey, who sat next to Sydney in class, so they knew it would get to her. Then they plan an attack on Sydney with a fake phone to make it look like it's Billy, so he would get in jail, and then Stu calls so it doesn't look like it's Billy. Then they manipulate the whole party situation and get her to the house. And with the new movie of Scream 5, it's like, Sam happened to go get Dewey and they happened to be at the hospital. It just doesn't seem like they're very smart. And they're trying to frame Sam, but she's the one that they're attacking, which wouldn't make sense. And they're attacking her in front of other people, other witnesses. And it's like, why would you attack her in front of witnesses if you're trying to make her look psychotic? Like, the hospital attack made sense, but the other hospital, the second hospital attack, didn't make sense. At the end of Scream 5, they talk about in their reveal how they're like bringing all the legacy characters back, but they're not really the ones who brought the legacy characters back. Even with like killing Dewey, that was just a spur of the moment chance that they got. They didn't lure him anywhere. He decided to come help them. The point is, the killers in Scream 5 just didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. With Scream 6, it was a little bit more with them being in control, because Detective Bailey was so in charge of everything and he was able to manipulate things. But even then, like, they just make really dumb decisions. Like, something me and my sister can't get over in the finale scene is when he has a gun the whole finale and he won't ever use it. Like, he just sits there talking or laughing or staring at them hanging on a ledge, and he won't use his gun. I think he shoots Tara once in, like, the ankle, and that's it. He's literally standing in front of Sam in the end and doesn't shoot her. And it's like, what are you doing? With the characters in Scream 6, I feel like they did better with the controlling of the killers, but with the characters, it just seemed like they had nothing to do. It felt like they were just sitting there waiting for Ghostface to arrive, and then they'd, like, try to go catch him, but obviously, like, Ghostface is with you. You know that someone around you is Ghostface, so it's like all they have in their life to do is Ghostface. Like in Scream 2, Sydney has a boyfriend. Sydney's in the play. Sydney's trying to get into this, well, she's not trying, but she's looking at sororities to get into. Like, there's other things. She's gone past it and tried to move on, and Ghostface followed her. This is where Ghostface followed them, and they didn't have anything going on in their lives anyway, so why not just spend all day in the park trying to catch Ghostface, going and looking at shrines, going and trying to figure out who it is in the park with no other activities to do. Like, none of them do anything else except Ethan, who's a killer when he goes to his econ class, which, who knows if he actually went to his econ class. Like, none of them had anything to do. And it was like, what? Like, the whole Tara and Chad thing would have been an interesting thing to explore more. Like, they only got together in the times of them facing Ghostface. Like, they didn't, like, have them go out on a date or something. I don't know. When you're writing a story, you have the main story, which is in Scream, it's the killer Ghostface thing. But then you have branches of different other stories. And in every single Scream by Wes Craven, there's other stories going on besides the Ghostface, and it all comes back together. That's how good stories operate. And in Scream 6, there was only one. And even though you had like Kirby and Detective Bailey here, and you had the core four over here, they were all just like Ghostface, Ghostface. Obviously the police are looking at Ghostface, but like these core four, all they were ever doing was Ghostface. They had nothing else to do. There was a lot that needed to be reworked. I feel like when they're writing it, they're so on the idea of subverting expectations and trying to come up with something different that they're forgetting the staples of a good story. So when it comes to the writers, I definitely think they should get some new takes, some more people to try to put some input on it, but also it's important to make sure that at this point you keep the characters that you've already created. So keeps the people who were writing it and bring in new writers to help like construct a good story and make something unique, but not where it doesn't make sense. It's unique, it just at times it doesn't make sense, and the what people love about Scream is the brilliance of the mystery, the brilliance of how everything comes together at the end, and if you don't have that, then you don't have Scream. I did really enjoy these last two movies. I don't think that any Scream movie is bad. I just think that they could have made a little bit more sense if they had a little bit more thought put into them. So, changing director, that's a fine idea. I don't think that's a bad idea, especially if you have the old directors working on it with them, and then the writers. There needs to be a change in that aspect. It's come to a point where it's gotten too far off track, where in the last movie they didn't even have anything that they were doing. You need the side plots connected with the middle story, especially if this isn't going to be the last one and they're going to continue, which I could see happening potentially if they didn't want to end it at Scream 7, because I feel like a lot of people are thinking that it's going to end here, but what would be really interesting is if at the end of this movie, where they have like, they always have a flash of Ghostface when they're saying there's going to be another movie, if they did that at the end of this movie and everyone was like, what? There's going to be another one? Why? So... Baxter, you scared me. No, get out. I know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, bud. I know, you want Scream 7. That was my dog, sorry. He wants me to go play with him. I will go play with him in a second. I am curious what other people are thinking about this movie, what they think about the writers and the directors and the changing, because I think that there's going to be a big change with this next movie, especially since they're getting a new director. Like, I think it's going to be taken in a new direction. They've got some great ideas coming. They just need to stick it all together and make it consistent and a good story. But let me know what you think about the switching of the director, what you think about Scream 7 and the writers, and where the franchise should go from after Scream 6. Okay, bye.